Hi guys, welcome back to English with Max. In this video we're going to look at vocabulary for parts of the face and makeup. If you've been following me for quite a while, you might remember that I actually made a video like this a few years ago. I wasn't very happy with it, so I took it down, and now I'm making a similar one. I thought the best way to teach this would be to do a demonstration. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to look like this. We can call it Max's look. Are you ready? Okay, now before we get started, it's important to know the main verbs that are used when we talk about makeup. The most common one is the phrasal verb to put on. To put on makeup. For example, I'm going to put on makeup. I put on mascara most mornings. She put on her makeup and then went out. In that last one, I used the possessive adjective her. Her makeup. That's actually optional here. So you can say, she put on makeup and then went out. A more formal word that means the same thing is apply. To apply makeup. You might hear this in makeup tutorials or from makeup artists, but we don't really use this in everyday life. You can also just use the verb do. To do one's makeup. But here you need the possessive adjective. So, I do my makeup. You do your makeup. He does his makeup, etc. For example, I like the way she did her makeup. Now let's start with the products. The first thing that a lot of people put on their face is a primer. I don't really know what primers do. I've tried one or two, and they didn't really seem to do anything. People say that they can make your makeup last longer, or that they can make your skin smoother, or that they can minimize the appearance of pores. Pores are the very small holes in your skin that sweat can pass through. In any case, yeah, I don't use a primer. I don't have one at the moment, but sometimes I put on moisturiser if my skin is a little bit dry before putting on other makeup. If I want a more dewy appearance, sometimes I put on argan oil. Argan oil. I'm not going to put on moisturiser or argan oil now because I don't think it's necessary. The next thing that lots of people do is put on foundation. I actually prefer to do my eye makeup first in case I make a bit of a mess. Okay, so let's do that. Now, before putting on eyeshadow, I sometimes put an eyeshadow primer on my eyelids. These are your eyelids. I don't know how long I've had this. It's quite old. I don't actually wear makeup every day, and when I do, I don't usually do the whole thing, so to speak. So there are certain products that I don't go through very quickly. I have read things like once you open your makeup, you shouldn't keep it for too long. Normally they say between 6 months and a year, but I've literally had some things for more than 10 years, and nothing bad has happened. I honestly think it's just a marketing ploy to get people to buy more products. Anyway, I'm now going to put on some primer. Let's see. You don't, oopsies, went on the ground. Okay, you don't need very much. Something like that. Okay, an eyeshadow primer can, well, it can help your eyeshadow last longer, and it can just make it look a little bit better. Right, now I'm going to put on eyeshadow. I'm going to use a brush, just a regular eyeshadow brush. I think I'll use blue, so you can see it clearly. Put that on my eyelids. Now I'm going to get the white and put that in the, well, close to the center near my tear ducts. You know, tear ducts are where the tears, where your tears come out from. Okay, put some white up here as well. Okay, now I'm going to get a darker color and put it in the corners of my eyes. Must maybe a bit too dark. Well, let's use the brown. Okay. Right, now I'm going to get a blending brush and blend that all out a bit. Okay. A blending brush is normally a brush that's a bit fluffy. While we're talking about brushes, if a brush is like that, like on an angle, then we call it an angled brush. An angled brush. Right, so I've done the eyeshadow. Now I'm going to use an eyeliner pencil. Okay, this is an eyeliner pencil. So eyeliner is usually a pencil, or you can have liquid eyeliner. This is an example of liquid eyeliner. But I'm going to use my pencil. Okay, let's go. This one's black, but they also often come in brown and grey. I have a green one too, which is pretty cool. Now, oh yeah, a little bit underneath. Okay, probably enough eyeliner. Now I'm going to apply some mascara. Oh, I'm using the word apply, like a real makeup tutorial. I'm going to put some mascara on my eyelashes. These are your eyelashes. Well, they're my eyelashes. Okay. So those are my top eyelashes. This is not waterproof mascara. Waterproof mascara is mascara that is more difficult to get off, which is good in some ways, but can be a pain when you're trying to take it off. So this isn't waterproof, which means that if I cry, for example, it's going to run, or if I go like that, it's going to smudge, but it's easier to take off. So let's do the lower lashes. Okay. Right. Now, the eyebrows. This is an eyebrow pencil. Just going to thicken them up a little bit. Don't want too much, but just a little bit can help. Now I'm going to do the rest of my face. As I said, I don't use a primer, but I do often use a concealer. Concealers are good for covering up imperfections, different types of spots, or things like dark circles under your eyes. I normally have a couple of pimples. At the moment, not very many, but yeah, I normally have a couple. Oh, it's running out of it. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. So they're often somewhere around here, maybe here. Yeah, sometimes I'm a little bit dark under the eyes, so I'll put it there. I also have a small chickenpox scar on my forehead. I'm now going to put on foundation. If you don't want to use foundation, I guess lighter alternative is tinted moisturiser. This is also called BB cream. It's just moisturiser that has some colour in it. You can use this if, yeah, you don't really want to put on makeup, but you want your skin just to look a little bit more uniform, or perhaps cover up a little bit of redness. But today we're using foundation. You can use different things to apply foundation. You can use your fingers, you can use a brush, or you can use a sponge. Perhaps something like this, or something like this. I'm going to use a special type of sponge called a beauty blender. Sponges that look like this are called beauty blenders. Okay, so here's the foundation. This is a cream foundation. You can also get liquid foundations. Let's start. Okay. Here we go. Let's start on the forehead actually. So this here is the forehead. Forehead. You can also call it the forehead. Forehead. Forehead or forehead. Okay. Okay, I'm going to put on my nose now. On my chin. This is the chin. And on my cheeks. Now I'm going to put a powder on it to fix it. So, getting another brush, dipping it in the powder. There we go. Right. Now I'm going to use some bronzer. Apparently the main purpose of bronzer is to make it look like you have a bit of a tan, but I am actually going to use it for contouring. Just a little bit of contouring. Apparently you're not really supposed to use bronzer for that, but whatever. Contouring is basically adding definition to the structure of your face. So I'm going to take another brush. See if I can get it. Yeah. Okay. I don't do loads of contouring, but you know, I normally do a little bit on the cheeks. And then a little bit around the face. Now I'm going to use some blush on my cheeks. So obviously blush is to give your cheeks a bit of colour. A word on cheeks. The face isn't the only part of our body where we have cheeks. The two parts of our backside, of our bottom, are also called cheeks. Those are butt cheeks. I have these things on my cheeks. Those are called dimples. One dimple, two dimples. Some people have a dimple on their chin. You can also have dimples on your butt cheeks, but usually we just call that cellulite. Happens to the best of us. Do you have cellulite, Ethel? I guess platypuses don't get cellulite. Now if you want, you can use a highlighter. A highlighter can be a powder or a liquid, but it's always a lighter colour that's usually a bit shiny. I just use an old eyeshadow that I have. At the end of the day, a lot of these products are pretty much the same. I think cosmetic companies just put a lot of them into different packages because they know that they're going to sell more products that way, right? Okay, so I'll grab a brush for my highlighter. A little bit up here, a little bit on the nose, a little bit above the mouth. I think we're done. And now it's time to do the lips. Your top lip can be called the top lip or the upper lip. The bottom one is the bottom lip or the lower lip. I'm going to start with lip liner. Lip liner. Okay. Okay, I shouldn't talk while I do that. You can just use it on the outside, but some people also fill in their lips with lip liner. That way you prevent having a really visible line. So I'll fill them in as well. Okay, I think that's enough. But I'm also going to apply some lipstick. This is lipstick. Right. Now, if you want to add a bit of shine, you can use lip gloss. Lip gloss. And the main aim when putting lipstick on is to not get it on your teeth. Remember, one tooth, two teeth. That's about it. If you want, you can always put some perfume on. Pretty much. And if you want to paint your nails, you can use nail polish. Nail polish. This is also called nail varnish. Nail varnish. But nail polish is more commonly used. That's it, everybody. I hope you learnt something. Remember that if you're very interested in improving your vocabulary, I also send out a free advanced English email lesson every 2 weeks. You'll find the link in the description. If you'd like to make fewer mistakes in English, don't forget that I have a course on Udemy which covers 55 common mistakes made by English learners. To get my special discount for that, you just need to click the link in the description. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit the thumbs up, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye. A highlighter is normally, but I do often use, now I'm going to use pimples, help to get my special. You might hear this from 55 common, the only part of our butt.